Devaya. Text 18. Maitreya uvacha sadhu prashtam tavar sadho lokan sadva anurgnata kirtim vitavata loke atmano dokshajatmana.
Translation. Sri Maitreya said, O Vidura, all glory unto you. You have inquired from me of the greatest of all goodness, and thus you have shown your mercy both to the world and to me, because your mind is always absorbed in thoughts of the transcendence.
Text 19. Neti chitram tvayikshatar Bhadrayana virayaje Ghrito nanya bhavena Yatvaya haririshvara.
Translation. O Vidura, it is not at all wonderful that you have so accepted the glory without deviation of thought, for accepted the Lord without deviation of thought, for you were born from the semen of Vyasadeva.
Text 20. Mandavya sapat bhagavan samyamano yamaha vratu kshetre bhujusyayam jata satyavati sutat.
Translation. I know that you are now Vidura due to the cursing of Mandavya Muni, and that formerly you were King Yamaraj, the great controller of living entities after their death. You were begotten by the son of Satyavati, Vyasadeva, in the kept wife of his brother.
Text 21. Bhavan Bhagavato Nitya Samata Sanugasya. Sorry, there's someone else speaking at the same time. Samata Sanugasya Yasya Jnanopadeshaya Madhisat Bhagavan Vrajan.
Translation. Your good self is one of the eternal associates of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for whose sake the Lord, while going back to his abode, left instructions with me.
Text 22. Athate Bhagavan Leela Yogamayur Brimitaha Vishwastiti Bhavantartha Vanayami Anupurvasha.
Translation. I shall therefore describe to you the pastimes by which the personality of Godhead extends his transcendental potency for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic world as they occur one after another.
Text 23. Bhagavan Ekaya Sedam Agra Atmatmanam Vibhu Atmecha Gunatavatma Nanmate Upalakshanaha.
Translation. The personality of Godhead, the master of all living entities, existed prior to the creation as one without a second. It is by his will only that creation is made possible, and again everything merges in him. This supreme self is symptomized by different names.
Text 24. Sava esha tada drashta napsaya drishyam ekarat mene shantam ivatmanam supta shaktir asupta drik.
Translation. The Lord, the undisputed proprietor of everything, was the only seer. The cosmic manifestation was not present at that time, and thus he felt imperfect without his plenary and separated parts and parcels. The material energy was dormant, whereas the internal potency was manifested.
Text 25. Sava etasya shamradus Shakti sadasad atmika Maya nama mahabhaga Yayedam nirmame vibhu.
Translation. The Lord is the seer, and the external energy, which is seen, works as both cause and effect in the cosmic manifestation. O greatly fortunate Vidura, this external energy is known as Maya or illusion, and through her agency only is the entire material manifestation made possible.
Text 26. Kala vritya tu mayayam gunamayam adokshaja purushenatma bhutena viryam adhata viryavan.
Translation. The Supreme Living Being, in his feature as the transcendental Purusha incarnation, who is the Lord's plenary expansion, impregnates the material nature of three modes, and thus the influence of eternal time, the living entities appear.
Text 27. Tato bhavan mahattvam avyaktat kalakoditat Vijnanatma dehastam Vishvam vyanjam stamonudaha.
Translation. Thereafter, influenced by the interactions of eternal time, the supreme sum total of matter, called the Mahatattva, became manifested, and in this Mahatattva, the unalloyed goodness, the Supreme Lord, sowed the seeds of universal manifestation out of his own body.
Text 28. Sopiyam saguna kalatma Bhagavad drishti gocharaha Atmanam vyakarod atma Vishvasyasya shirishkasya.
Translation. Thereafter, the Mahatattva differentiated itself into many different forms as the reservoir of the would-be entities. The Mahatattva is chiefly in the mode of ignorance, and it generates the false ego. It is a plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead, with full consciousness of creative principles and time for fructification.
Text 29. Mahatatvad vikurvanad aham tatvam vijayayata karyakarana kartratma bhutendriya manomaya vekarikas tejascha tamasaschaityaham tridah.
Translation. Mahatattva, or the great causal truth, transforms into false ego, which is manifested in three phases: cause, effect, and the doer. All such activities are on the mental plane and are based on the material elements, gross senses, and mental speculation. The false ego is represented in three different modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance.
Text 30. Aham tatvad vikurvanan mano vekarikad abhut vekarikascha ye deva artha bivyanjanam yataha.
Translation. The false ego is transformed into mind by interaction with the mode of goodness. All the demigods who control the phenomenal world are also products of the same principle, namely the interaction of false ego and the mode of goodness.
Text 31. Tejasandindriyani va jnana karma mayani cha.
Translation. The senses are certainly products of the mode of passion in false ego, and therefore philosophical speculative knowledge and fruitive activities are predominantly products of the mode of passion.
Text 32. Tamaso bhuta shukshmadir Yuthakham lingamatmanaha
Translation. The sky is a product of sound, and sound is the transformation of egoistic ignorance. In other words, the sky is the symbolic representation of the Supreme Soul.
Text 33. Kalamayam sayogena bhagavad-vikshitam nabaha nabhaso nushram sparsham vikurvan nirmame nilam.
Translation. Thereafter, the personality of Godhead glanced over the sky, partly mixed with eternal time and external energy, and thus developed the touch sensation from which air in the sky was produced.
Text 34. Anilopi vikurvano nabhashuru balanvita Sarsharjarupatanmatram Jyotirlokashalokanam.
Translation. Thereafter, the extremely powerful air interacting with the sky generated the form of sense perception, and the perception of form transformed into electricity, a light to see the world.
I think that's the last. Annilenatvitam jyotir vikurvat paravikshitam adattambora samayam kalamayam sayogataha.
Translation. When electricity was surcharged in the air and was glanced over by the Supreme, at that time, by a mixture of eternal energy, eternal time and external energy, there occurred the creation of water and taste. Hare Krishna, thank you for the opportunity to recite.
Hare Krishna, I think the verses were just up to 34.
Yes, Jyoti Mataji, it's 18 to 34.
Yeah, 18 to 34. Okay, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare
Sorry, the sound isn't coming through clearly at all.
Lovely recitations by both the
Hare Krishna, Mamta Mataji. We can't hear you.
Hare Krishna, Jyoti Mataji, and Hare Krishna devotees. While Mamta Mataji is sorting out her audio problems, maybe I can recite the Mangalacharan on her behalf while waiting for her to rejoin us, if that's okay. So let's all put our hands together and you can recite with me the Mangalacharan. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कान्ता राधाकान्ता नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौरङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरा भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा. Thank you to Mataji and Prabhuji for the very nice recitations. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, Jyoti Mataji, please remind me what verses we are discussing today, please.
Hare Krishna. 28 to 32.
28 to 30.
Yes.
So, what we'll do is while waiting for Mamta Mataji to sort out her audio situation problems, we'll read 28 to 30. Would anyone like to volunteer to read the Sanskrit verse and the translation, please? Any volunteers?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, please go ahead, Shabani Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Soapi saguna kalatma bhagavad drishta gochara atmanam vyakarod atma vishvasya shishra. Translation. Thereafter, the Mahatattva differentiated itself into many different forms as the reservoir of the would-be entities. The Mahatattva is chiefly in the mode of ignorance and it generates the false ego. It is a plenary expansion of the personality of Godhead with full consciousness of creative principles and time for fructification. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Mahatattva is the medium between pure spirit and the material existence. It is the junction of the matter and spirit wherefrom the false ego of the living entity is generated. All living entities are differentiated parts and parcel of the personality of Godhead. Under the pressure of false ego, the conditioned souls, although part and parcels of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, claim to be the enjoyers of the material nature. This false ego is the binding force of material existence. The Lord again and again gives a chance to the bewildered conditioned souls to get free from this false ego. And that is why the material creation takes place at intervals. He gives the conditioned soul all facilities for rectifying the activities of the false ego, but he does not interfere with their small independence as the part and parcels of the Lord. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Shabani Mataji, for the nice recitations. Would anyone like to read text 29, please? The Sanskrit and the translations. Thank you.
I can read, Mataji.
Yes, please. Jyoti Mataji, there seems to be some echoing sound coming in the background. Can anybody be muted, wherever the sound is coming from, please?
Oh, yes, there's loads of. Let me mute everyone.
Thank you.
1 second. Yeah, is it better now?
Oh, yes, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mahatatvad vikurvanat aham tatvam vijayatam karyakaranakatvam तन्मात्ratma bhutendriya manomana mayaha vaikarikastejasascha tamasaschetyaham tritaha. Translation: Mahatattva, or the great casual truth, transforms into false ego, which is manifested in three phases: cause, effect, and the doer. All such activities are on the mental plane and are based on the material elements, gross senses, and mental speculations. The false ego is represented in three different modes: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Puppet. A pure living entity in his original spiritual existence is fully conscious of his constitutional position as an eternal servitor of the Lord. All souls who are situated in such pure consciousness are liberated, and therefore they eternally live in bliss and knowledge in the various Vaikuntha planets in the spiritual sky. When the material creation is manifested, it is not meant for them. The eternally liberated souls are called Nitya Muktas, and they have nothing to do with the material creation. The material creation is meant for rebellious souls who are not prepared to accept subordination under the Supreme Lord. This spirit of false lordship is called false ego. It is manifested in three modes of material nature, and it exists in mental speculations only. Those who are in the mode of goodness think that each and every person is God, and thus they laugh at the pure devotees who try to engage in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Those who are puffed up by the mode of passion try to lord it over material nature in various ways. Some of them engage in altruistic activities as if they were agents appointed to do good to others by their mental speculative plans. Such men accept the standard ways of mundane altruism, but their plans are made on the basis of false ego. This false ego extends to the limit of becoming one with the Lord. The last class of egoistic, conditioned souls, those in the mode of ignorance, are misguided by identification of the gross body with the self. Thus, all their activities are centered around the body only. All these persons are given the chance to play with false ego ideas, but at the same time, the Lord is kind enough to give them a chance to take help from sculptures like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, so that they may understand the science of Krishna and thus make their lives successful. The entire material creation, therefore, is meant for the falsely egoistic living entities hovering on the mental plane under different illusions in the modes of material nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Jyoti Mataji, for the nice recitation. I've heard from Mamta Mataji. She called me. She said she will try and rejoin us as soon as possible. So please bear with her. Thank you. Okay, we move on to text 30. Any volunteers, please?
Yes, please. Can I read, Mataji?
Yes, thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Text 30. Aham tatvad vikurvanam manovaikarikat vaikarikascha ye deva arthabhyayanjanam yataha. Translation. The false ego is transformed into mind by interaction with the mode of goodness. All the demigods who control the phenomenal world are also products of the same principle, namely the interaction of false ego and the mode of goodness. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. False ego, interacting with the different modes of material nature, is the source of all materials in the phenomenal world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Pushpa Mataji. So just looking at
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Can you hear me
Hare
now?
Krishna. We can hear you now, Mamta Mataji. Thank you for
Thank
rejoining.
you so much, Mataji.
I've recited the
Hare Krishna,
Mangala
Mataji.
Charan, and
Yes,
we've read all the three verses, 28 to 30.
Oh,
So
dear.
I just thought I'd update you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. I've come to a new place, and I think there's something wrong with the Wi-Fi, and maybe it got all disconnected. So I've just come in the morning and just come back from work. So yeah, please forgive me today for all the mistakes I've been doing, because obviously I've not been able to concentrate much. But I think I'll just read it again, if it's okay with you all to read about the thing, or I can start with the previous verse. So basically, in this verse, this is again how the creation, material creation, is happening. This is explaining this again. I think we heard this again in the previous canto also. But then we hear, I was just thinking whether we should take it a bit
Mataji,
from
there's
the
some, Mataji, Hare Krishna, Mamta Mataji.
Chaitanya
There's some
Charitamrita also,
Hare Krishna,
where
Mamta Mataji.
again
There
the
is a
creation of the
terrible
Lord.
echo
Finish up
sound.
reciting all the verses, Mataji.
There's some echo sound coming from your side, and there's some connectivity problem. Can you hear me?
How is it now, Mataji?
It's intermittent.
Hare Krishna.
So sometimes it's very clear, and sometimes there's a connectivity problem.
I'm so sorry. Mataji, tell me now, Mataji.
Well, in between we can hear you clearly, but then the connectivity problem is there. So you're being cut off in between.
What do we do today, Mataji?
So
I'm just thinking like
it's a real pity because there is an intermittent fault with your connectivity. So what we'll do is, it's a pity that we can't hear you continuously.
I don't have any other thing to
So
connect
I've got
with.
a suggestion here from a chat,
Okay, I'll
from the
stop my
chat,
video.
from Geeta Mataji. She said,
Yeah.
please stop your video and see if it works. Try and see now, Mataji.
So I stop my video. Is that better?
Well, keep
Hare
talking
Krishna. I'm talking,
keep
Mataji.
talking, keep talking.
Oh dear. So basically over here, just wanted to say how Lord Chaitanya is trying to explain about the creation. So he says what Krishna, how he incarnates himself as the Purusha avatars of Vishnu creations. And Vishnu has three forms called Purushas. The first Mahavishnu is the creator of the total material energy. Can you hear me, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, we can hear you. It's much better. Thank you.
Okay. And the Mahavishnu, which is the creator of the total material energy, the Mahat, and the second is the Garbhodakasaya, the Alakashaya Vishnu. And the third is the Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So who lives in the heart of every living being. Now, how, first of all, you have to understand that Lord Shankarsana, who is Balrama, he is the main person who's creating all this energy. He creates both the worlds, both the material and the spiritual worlds. And so he's and that happens because of the will of Krishna and the power of Krishna's spiritual energy.
So he creates the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan, and the Vaikuntha planets, and also the material world. So now when we look at the material world, as we look into this Bhagavatam, how we see how Sri Prabhupada tries to explain much in detail regarding how how anything is created basically in this world. Obviously, you always require a male and a female energy. That's what they're trying to explain, but not in the
We're hearing your voice twice. Please. Hare Krishna.
I don't know where the echo is coming from. Sorry, Mataji, I don't know where the echo is coming from.
Jyoti Mataji has muted the other audio system, so you're okay now, Mataji. Carry on.
I'm okay. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, Srila Prabhupada explains how the male and the female energy is required for creating anything. But we have to understand, like, not like mundane, like how materialistic energy, the creation happens. It doesn't happen with the Lord. So the Lord is omnipotent. So he can do with any part of his body, he can do every function, you know. It doesn't have to be that only his mouth is for speaking or his eyes are for seeing. So his eyes can do things which the bodies of organs of creation do, or his he can eat with his. I mean, the food can go through his hands, so the fingers can actually have mouths to have food. Every part of the body can function any way he wants it. So we have to understand over here is how the world is created is by his glance of the at the material, at the Prakriti or the material Mother Earth. And that is how basically the impregnation happens with all the jivas inside. And then the world is created. So over here, but then again, we have to understand that the God over here is full of pure goodness, and then the material energy comes over there. So in that, it is full of ignorance over there. So whatever goodness is then Shuddha goodness, it becomes adulterated slightly because these are all divided again into the and ignorance. And whatever we do is divided into these three basic elements. So we have, you know how the elements are created in our body, like from all the five elements you have the earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And then you have your mind, intelligence, and ego. So we have to understand like each of these, how it is first created, each and every part. There is a stage in which how each of them are created. It is very well explained in one of the chapters in, I think, in where how each of these material energies with time is a major element. With time, how these are created, and one is like we say, like the ego is supposed to be the most voluminous one. So when we relate ego to our body, so that is the main one which attaches us to the materialistic body. So over here, when we go to the, if I can just say, so where this so I want to just read a bit of here. So what happens is all the expansions of Lord Krishna are actually residents of the spiritual world, but when they descend onto the material world, they are called incarnations. So to glance over the material world and empower Lord Sankarsana first incarnates as Lord Mahavishnu. And in the beginning of the creation,
Hare Krishna Mataji, we're hearing your voice twice.
oh, I'm so sorry.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Mataji, is it possible that you have Mamta Mataji got two devices on, like phone and the laptop?
Yes.
Are they on at the same time?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to just have one device on.
Okay.
Just turn off the other device, please.
Okay. Let me just see.
Yeah.
What I can do from there. If I switch off the
Turn your phone off. Yeah.
Let me see. Yeah, now is it better?
Yes.
Okay, I switched off the Wi-Fi. Okay.
Yeah. Good. Thank you.
So he expands himself in the form of Purusha and accompanied by all the ingredients of material creation. So he creates all the 16 principal energies, 16. So you have again this earth, water, fire, then air, ether, and then you have your sound, and then your senses, how the speech comes out, and all different energies. There are about 16 of them. 6 principal energies come out, and then Karna is the first incarnation of the Lord, and obviously he is the master of eternal time. So what brings the whole thing into essence is to end at one particular time. So it is not like endless.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Mamta Mataji. The audio is really bad now.
Is the main factor for all of us that dictates how the world is starting and how the world is ending. He is the master of the time, the space, the mind, elements, ego, everything you say, he is the master of it. And then and also obviously he created
Hare Krishna, Mamta Mataji.
Vishnu, and
Hare
then
Krishna.
obviously Karnadakshin.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mamta
Krishna,
Mataji. Can you hear
I'm here,
me?
Mataji.
I think that your
Yes,
sound
Mataji, I can hear
quality
you.
is quite bad. It is we can hardly hear you, and I'm receiving messages in the chat box as well that some devotees can't hear you. So, what should we do? That's the question. You see, your voice is also dragging. There's a dragging.
Can you read?
I'm sorry to say that
let me
audio
see
is really bad.
1 second. Let me go out. Let me go out, Mataji.
On and
Hare
off,
Krishna, can you
Mataji.
hear me now? Oh, that's a sad thing.
Yeah,
It's a pity.
it is sad. I'm just wondering how we should resolve.
I've come to a different place, Mataji.
I know, I understand that you're in a different place.
Mataji, is this better? Is this better?
Well, it's momentarily better. So let's see how we get on, okay? And I might have to interrupt you if the sound quality is bad again.
Yes, Mataji. Is this slightly better?
Slightly better, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. So what happens over here is, now Karnadaksha Vishnu obviously is the first incarnation of the Lord, and then he is the master of all the space again, space, cause, effects, and then from him comes the Garbhodaksha Vishnu, and then from them Kshirodaksha Vishnu. Okay. Now we have this river called the Viraja. Viraja river, that is the border between the spiritual world and the material world. So that is where the spiritual world and the material world, they will never meet at all. There's always this river in between. And so the material world is situated on one side of the shore of this river, and the other side we have the spiritual sky. So we have to understand the differences of here is in the spiritual world, there's no three modes present at all. Nothing is there. And there is, the goodness is Shuddha. It is only goodness over there and nothing else. Yeah. And over here, what happens over here, the Lord, when he creates, so when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, what he does is he glances over this material energy or the Prithvi, and then she becomes agitated, and then obviously all the living entities, so the Lord Seaman will have all the genes or the things of all the living entities in this world. So he impregnates that with the Mother Earth by his glancing nature. Okay, and then obviously different types of living beings are being created. So they say so over here Lord Chaitanya tries to say is at a time beyond memory, after agitating the material nature into three qualities, the Supreme Personality of Godhead placed the semen of innumerable living entities within the womb of that material nature. That's the Mother Earth. So thus material nature gave birth to the total material energy, known as the Hiranmaya Mahatattva, the original symbolic representation of cosmic manifestation. And then in due course of time, then the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Mahavaikunthanatha, by the agency of an expansion of his personal self, Mahavishnu, he placed the seed of living entities within the womb of material nature. Then first the total material energy is manifested, and from this comes the three types of egotism, which are the original source from which then all demigods come, all the controlling deities come, the senses and the material elements come. Then the first, then combining all the different elements, then we have the Supreme Lord will create all the universes, different universes. And then these, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please carry on.
Okay, I don't know whether you will be hearing me or not.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So over here, what we have to understand from this thing is, because everybody has a different way of, some say Shiva and then Parvati, that's how it is, this energy and that energy. But I think the Lord has created everything. So I don't know, you should not try to make Shiva, Parvati, God glancing. Some people have some different views, but obviously this is all open to discussion. And then I think you all can add in at the end of the class. But what the main idea of here to say is that the ego, the ego which we have is the one which keeps us attached to this material world. It is that ego which keeps us attached to this material world, and that is because it causes so much of attachment. And because of attachment, the more attachment you have, the more ego a person has. So you'll always see that the more a person is egoistic, the more passionate they are, and the more attachment they have. And so therefore they cannot detach from material world. So the first thing you have to do is get rid of your ego. But the ego is the maximum, it occupies the maximum number of space in your body. When you look at it, it is multiplied. When you see that ego is the most, so it is the most difficult to get out of you, because when you look at it, your earth, water, fire, air, ether, they all occupy very little space. But ego occupies the multitudes of space. So how much thinner that is, that much easy it is for you to take out the what sort of an energy from you. But so all of us should learn how to get rid of that ego. So by getting rid of, how do we get rid of the ego? So ego, one way you can think of ego, materialistic ego, as being humble. So as being humble as possible, like the blade of grass, where people are trampling on it, and then still the grass doesn't even say anything. So the similar, the more humble you are, the more quickly the ego comes out of you. The ego really goes out of you. So this is something we need to understand of here. So
can I ask, how do we behave that way with non-devotees, say work colleagues?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry.
Sushil Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Did you hear me?
Who is
Did you hear my question?
Yes. How do we deal with it?
Yeah.
Deal with the ego, right?
No, you're saying that we should be humble like a blade of grass, yeah? Okay, that's obviously good with devotees, but when we go into work in the workplace with non-devotees who don't necessarily work by our rules, our standards.
That's true.
So how do we, how do we?
So I think we should take an example and say, like, suppose, first of all, for them, so as I think when we are trying to see, so we have to go into their world, because they are not able to come into our world, so we should not explain to them in the terms as we understand. So because they will never be able to understand that. So for example, I was trying to say, like, for a child, you have to come down to that level and speak to the child in the language they understand. So if you speak to them more philosophical and all that, they will not understand at all. So we have to become more materialistic with them. So I try to understand why the person is so egoistic. What is causing the ego for them? So because what is that attachment which is causing the ego for them? So then you have to get into their mindset and then find a solution of how you can get it out. So if we start saying the way how we have, see, because your mindset is totally changed now, being in Krishna consciousness, or doing japa, or doing all, it is transforming. So your understanding is quite different. Whereas a person who is an atheist, who doesn't at all believe, they will not even, they take black as black and white as white. But for us, there are so many shades of gray in between. So for them, I feel you should go into their world first, understand them properly, and then speak in their language what they mean to say. If you ask them to come and speak in our language, they might not be able to understand. If you give an example, then maybe we could talk about that. See what happened in anything at work. So workplaces, so when you do your karma, you have to go by rules. You can't go by rules of Krishna consciousness over there. That becomes difficult because Krishna consciousness rules are quite different. And then the normal mundane, I come to work, I got to do what the hospital wants, or what is required of me to do. You got to do that. If you don't do, then the ego comes in between. Then they might say, like, no, you're not right, and they might just kick you out. Or so many things are there. There's a way of how to convey the message, actually. So if we are humble, then for example, if we become humble, I'm not saying that we have to accept even it's not our fault, but if we become humble and then try to maybe listen in first to say what they're saying, and then hear what they're saying, and then try to put yourself in their shoes and try to understand why that person is behaving so egoistically, and then try to unravel. So if you tell me an incident, then we can work on that, Prabhu.
I haven't got any specific incident at the moment, but obviously we all come across it in probably daily lives. So just wondering how to so I know in the future how to deal with it. Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Oh, I'm so sorry if I'm not been able to explain, but I feel always.
No, it's fine. You've explained very nicely. Thank you, Mataji. You explained very nicely.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So we have this So obviously, Prabhupada is trying to say, like, why human beings are so much, and because they always compare themselves with why does the ego come for them? Because they always try to think that they are much more powerful than the Lord. Like they feel like, oh, they're equal to Lord. So because that happens because they are not in their own what was the original identity. So they've lost that identity, that they are actually children of God, or they are part and parcel of the Lord. But they think that they are separate from Lord, and that is why they feel like the God is the competitor, and they want to lord over the Lord, and that is why the ego becomes more and more inflated. So the more educated a person is, the more he realizes that, oh my God, my knowledge is zero, and you'll always find like people who have like half knowledge, how half vessel makes the most noise, and a full vessel hardly makes any noise. You have a small tumbler with full of water, and you can carry it on. I mean, you can just hold and move from one place to another place, holding it. It hardly makes any noise. Whereas a half-filled tumbler will make so much of noise, and it'll spill everywhere. So the more, like how you say the mango tree, the more fruits it has, the more it just bends to the ground. And so that's one sign of like humility. So the more humble you are, the more your ego comes down. So and this happens, what I was trying to say is because we are all in the mode of ignorance. So the more ignorant we are, the more egoistic we are, and the less obviously the more good we are, the more humble we are. I just wanted to bring this today. Obviously, a little bit, it's become a bit chaotic, but I was wondering, because I wanted to read this out for where Krishna, when this is about the Markandeya Rishi, the story about the Markandeya Rishi. I thought this is a very nice thing during the Pralaya that time. Okay, this is a story of this is actually taken from Srimad Bhagavatam, and Canto 12 actually, where Markandeya Sutta Goswami is trying to tell the story, over here, like the Supreme Lord Narayana, the friend of Nara, he was satisfied by the proper glorification offered by the intelligent sage Markandeya. So how does the Lord address that excellent descendant of Bhrigu? So the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he said, so what happens exactly over here is, so one day, Markandeya Rishi was performing his evening worship on the bank of Pushpabhadra. And suddenly there was this big wind happening, and it created a terrible sound and brought in, obviously, the clouds came on then, and then lightning and thunder, and then started raining like crazy from all sides, and literally it flooded the whole place. And then from all four sides, all the oceans appeared from all sides, and then the earth was literally engulfed in the water. And then obviously all along with it, all the living beings in the water also got engulfed. Then the sage, he saw like, oh my God, all the inhabitants of the earth are getting destroyed basically. And so what happens, as the rain was as Markandeya Rishi was looking on, the rain was pouring down from the clouds. He literally went to this tree. No, so what happened when the water was, I think I'm telling a bit, I'm just missing out bits of pieces. So when Markandeya, even as Markandeya looked on, the rain was pouring down from all clouds, filled the ocean more and more until the great sea Its waters violently whipped into terrifying waves by hurricanes, covered up all the Earth's islands, mountains, and continents. Then the water, it got inundated the earth, the space, heaven, and even the celestial regions. And then the entire expansion of the universe was flooded in all directions. And out of all its inhabitants, only Markandeya remained. So he was the only person left. And then his matted hair scattered, the great sage wandered about alone in the water, as if dumb and blind. So, and he was tormented by hunger and thirst, and was attacked by monstrous makaras and timingla fish, so the crocodiles and timingla fish. And he moved aimlessly throughout this infinite darkness. And as he really became exhausted, he lost all his senses, and he could not tell the sky from the earth. And he was engulfed by these great waves. And what happened? Countless of millions of years passed as Markandeya wandered about in that deluge, and his mind bewildered by the illusory energy of Lord Vishnu. So once while wandering in the water, then Markandeya discovered a small island, upon which there was a small banyan tree, and which was having fruits and blossoms, blossoming flowers. And then on that branch, on the northeast portion of the tree, he saw an infant boy lying within a leaf, and the child's effulgence was swallowing up the darkness. So it was literally, he was so effulgent. Then the infant's dark blue complexion, it was the color of a flawless emerald. His lotus face shone with wealth of beauty, and his throat bore marks like the lines of a conch shell. He had a broad chest, a finely shaped nose, beautiful eyebrows, and lovely ears that resembled pomegranate flowers, and that had inner folds like a conch shell spirals. The corners of his eyes were reddish, like the whorl of a lotus, and the effulgence of his coral-like lips slightly reddened the nectarian enchanting smile on his face. As he breathed, his splendid head trembled, and all this description they're giving about how this beautiful baby, And then Markandeya, he saw the child, and when he saw the child, he literally, all his exhaustion went off, He was so happy seeing this child. And then he could see that, confused at the identity, the sage obviously approached the child. Then when the child inhaled, he just took the Markandeya Rishi into his body, just like how when we inhale, we take off a mosquito or a fly or anything which goes. Similarly, the sage went off into the child's body. There, when Markandeya went into the body, he could see the entire universe and arrayed how it was before this all this torrential rains and this huge floods had arrived. Then he could not understand what was happening. He saw the entire universe, the sky, the heavens, the earth, the stars, everything as it was before, And he saw all this. He saw before him the Himalaya mountains. He saw the Pushpabhadra river on which he was actually meditating, and he saw his own hermitage. And then he saw all the audience of all the sages of Naranarayana. Then when he was just trying to enjoy all this beauty, then the Lord, the infant, exhaled, and then he expelled the sage from his body and casting him back into his ocean of dissolution. So in that vast sea, he again saw the banyan tree growing on the tiny island, and the infant boy lying within the leaf. The child glanced at him from the corner of his eyes with a smile imbued with the nectar of love, and Markandeya took him into his heart through the eyes. Greatly agitated, this sage ran to embrace the transcendental personality of Godhead. At that moment, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the original master of all the mysticism, became invisible to the sage. So after that, then the Lord disappeared. The banyan tree, the great water, and the dissolution of the universe all vanquished as well. And in an instant, Markandeya found himself back in his own hermitage just as before. So I wanted to bring this small thing of how the Lord, as a small child, when he was sucking his toe, basically, I still remember this, I think one of the things where everything, pralaya comes off, and then I think in one part, if some people have to correct me, is that actually Shiva comes, and when he starts sucking the toe, then Shiva comes and tries to dislodge the toe from the mouth. and that will relieve all the pressures of the earth. So with that, you have this beautiful glory of this Balamukunda, Balamukunda Geetam also with that, where they try to explain how the Lord is who is sleeping on the leaf of the banyan tree, and he places his foot in his lotus-like foot in his mouth, and then obviously, and how this whole thing creates the I mean, there's a song obviously which starts describing how Krishna is in this way. So when we go back again, sorry, to the chapter, just randomly I said, I'm so sorry, just brought it out of the way. So the main thing about the false ego, we come back again, is that the false ego main thing is the more you have false ego, the less godliness you have in you. So when as we say, the more ignorant you are, the more false ego you have in you. And so the best way of how we can liberate this false ego is anything, whatever you do, when we speculate too much, also when we think about it too much, when you try to dissect things more, then you want to prove that you're all right, or you want to prove the other person wrong. That is where the false ego comes over there too, because obviously you want to satisfy your ego in doing things. Over here, Prabhupada is trying to say is the best means of liberation from the clutches of false ego is to give up the habit of philosophical speculation regarding the absolute truth. So one should know definitely that the absolute truth is never realized by speculation. So and it is only realized by hearing him, not by listening, but by hearing him in all submissions and love from the bona fide authority who is representative of the 12 great authorities. Today, I don't know whether, it was a bit of a haphazard teaching over today, not so good. But I think I'll just open up the class to see so that we can have some discussion. And then if you'll allow me, then I think maybe I just wanted to, maybe if anybody can sing that Balamukunda, the Geetam is very nice one, just to calm ourselves down a bit. But y'all can open up the discussion, Mataji, because it was slightly a bit haphazard, but I think while talking, we can do a bit more. We have still about 12 minutes, I think. Somebody can, if somebody can sing the song, Karara Vindena.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, will the lyrics be on the KK
Yes,
devotional
Mataji, it is
website?
There. Yes, Mataji.
Maybe Jyoti Mataji can share it with us. If you could just repeat the title of the song, please.
Karara Vindena. Karara, K-A-R-A-R-A.
K-A-R-A-R-A. Jyoti Mataji, would you be able to locate this bhajan, please?
Kararavindena padaravindam. I think I must have.
Ria? Ria?
Sunita Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Sorry.
Your audio was on.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
You got that? It is Bilva Mangal Thakur's thing.
I don't think Jyoti Mataji is able to find.
Do you want me to? Should I share it? Maybe let me see if I can get it.
Okay. Are you a co-host, Mataji?
I don't know, Mataji. Let me see if I can get it up for you first.
Okay, I'll just check and see. Yeah, unfortunately, you're not a co-host at the moment, so
I'm not, huh?
no. Jyoti Mataji, Hare Krishna.
You have
Okay, if you have the lyrics, maybe you can sing the bhajan, Mataji.
I have the lyrics, Mataji. It's
Okay, so would you like to sing it?
Yeah, I'll try, Mataji.
Okay,
Hare
that's
Krishna,
nice.
I think I've done it before, but I'm not 100%, but I could try.
Okay, you can try, Mataji.
Yeah.
Should I start off the verse, then you want to try? Then the next one you can do then. You can get off the tune.
Okay. I've got a book in front of me.
Yeah.
So okay, let me start off. Yeah.
Okay, start,
Okay.
Mataji.
Is it the Mangalacharan, isn't it?
No.
Yeah, it's called Kararavindam Pararadavande
No.
Haravinde
Yeah.
Vinayastatvatam.
No. Mataji, you're singing
What?
wrong. The words are
Yeah?
wrong. The words are
Okay,
coming out
then
wrong.
I haven't got the right one. Sorry.
Yeah. It's there in the cake list. Okay, I'll do it then.
Yeah, you.
Kararavindena padaravindam Mukharavinde viniveshayantam Vatasya patrasya puteshayanam Valam mukundam manasa smarami Samhritya lokan vatapatramadhye शयन्नमाद्यन्तविहीनरूपम् सर्वेश्वरं सर्वहितवतारम् बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि इन्दीवरश्यामलकोमलाङ्गम् इन्द्रादिदेवार्चितपादपद्मम् सन्तानकल्पाद्रुममाश्रितानम् बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि लम्बालकं लम्बितहार यष्टिम् शृङ्गारलीलाङ्कितदन्तपङ्क्तिम् बिम्बाधरं विशालनेत्रं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि शिख्ये निधायापि पयोधधीनि बहिर्गताया व्रजनायिकायाम् भुक्त्वा यथेष्टं कपटेन सुप्तं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि काली जलस्थितकाली यस्य फणाग्ररङ्गे नटनाप्रियन्तम् तत्पृच्छहस्तं शरदिन्दुवक्त्रं बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि उलूखले बद्धमुदारशौर्यम् उत्तङ्गयुग्मार्जुनभङ्गलीलाम् उत्फुल्लपद्मायतचारुनेत्रम् बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि आलोक्य मातुमुखमादरेण स्तन्यं पिबन्तं सरसीरुहाक्षम् सच्चिन्मयं देवमनन्तरूपम् बालं मुकुन्दं मनसा स्मरामि Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami. Balam Mukundam Manasa Smarami. I meditate on that infant Mukunda Krishna, who's sleeping on the leaf of a banyan tree, with his lotus-like foot placed in his lotus-like mouth, with his lotus-like hand. I meditate on that infant Mukunda, who's sleeping holding all the worlds together, on the leaf of a banyan tree, in such form, which has no beginning or no end. He is the incarnation of God for the welfare of all mankind and the Lord of all. I meditate on Bala Mukunda in my heart, who has a delicate body like a blue lotus, and whose foot is worshipped by all gods and Indra, etc. He is the wish-fulfilling tree for those who take refuge in him. I meditate on that Bala Mukunda in my heart, who has hanging curls and hanging necklaces, a beautiful row of teeth which are shown playfully. His lower lip is as red as bimba fruit, and has beautiful wide eyes. I meditate on that Bala Mukunda in my heart, who pretended as if he was sleeping, having eaten the yogurt to his contentment from the hanging pots of the gopis when they had gone out. I meditate on Bala Mukunda, whose beautiful face resembles the autumnal moon and is dancing happily on the hood of the serpent Kalia, holding its tail with his hand in the Kalinda pond. I meditate on Bala Mukunda with beautiful eyes like the petals of a full-bloom lotus, and who has great valor, broke the pair of tall Yamala Arjuna trees, even though he was tied to a mortar, a large heavy stone bowl for pounding grain. I meditate on Bala Mukunda, God filled with Sat and Chit, that is infinite consciousness, of infinite divine form, the lotus-eyed one who cast his looks at his mother's face with affection while drinking milk from her breast. So this was actually written by Bilva Mangala Thakur, trying to glorify the baby Krishna, who was basically, I think, Vanita Mataji has the beautiful portrait, I think, where Krishna is lying on a leaf and he's sucking his toe. So I thought I would just, I don't know, I'm so sorry, I just tried to bring in this song of your, I feel sometimes you have to sing when you're, to bring the mood a bit, but it might be out of context a bit, but sorry, Prabhuji, sorry, Mataji's, the song.
Hare Krishna Mataji, it was really nice, so melodious and
Lovely.
soothing.
I
Really
enjoyed
nice.
it so much. It was really uplifting, Mataji.
I'm
You will have to share the words so we can learn.
Mataji, it's there in KK songs, Mataji. I take it from there only because you don't want me to sing any other songs from KK song. I try to get it. So it is the Karara Vindena Padara Vindam.
Okay.
It is. I'll send it to you, Mataji.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, sorry. So can we just? Please forgive me for my mistakes. I don't know whether I was able to actually explain things properly this time. Please forgive me, everyone. And I know Sushil Prabhu, I think I'll have to get a nice example to explain to you about how to.
Oh yeah, thank you, definitely, thank you, Mr.
Get the ego down. I will surely get an example next time, Prabhuji, and try
No,
to.
it's very good, very good, I enjoy, very good.
I'm so sorry. I feel it was not done properly.
No, it's very fine.
I don't know whether anybody wants to talk. Please comment on please something. No, is it over then?
No, looks like there are no comments or questions, Mataji.
Yeah.
So shall we wrap up the session?
Yes, Mataji, if that's okay.
Okay, let's all say the Vanchakalpa prayer. Vanchakapatarubyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila
Srimad
Prabhupada ki
Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
jai.
Mamta
Srila
Mataji.
Prabhupada
Mata
ki
ki jai.
Hari Hari Bol.
Bala
Hare
Mukunda
Krishna,
ki
thank you for the
Hare
jai.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari.
Thank you,
Hari.
Mataji. Very
Hare
nice class.
Thank
Oh,
you.
Mataji, sorry, Mataji. Thank you so much for being so patient with me.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. It's been a bit of a travel for me today, Mataji, actually, on the way. And then coming and work, it was a little bit tiring. Sorry for that. It affected the class a bit. Just might forgive me, please.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Thank you.